I think correlation doesn't equal causation.
No, but as I was saying, the advances in
well, basically what you just said was that we've executed fewer people and now there's less crimes. Did you not say that?
Negative, not exactly. No.
Okay. We feel that it is not necessary to look at homicide just in general in society as an overall outlook, but just the fact of murdering or putting those who murdered others and are repeat offenders. It's 4/5 of inmates in the death row have been repeat offenders. So the fact that you have gotten rid of them through the death penalty and execution lessens the amount of people that would have died if those people would have been allowed to remain in prison. Because even if some people, the pro side often states that it would be best to do life without parole, but statistics have shown that just in 2008, 166 deaths occurred in prison. So even if those people are not allowed out on the streets, it doesn't prevent deaths from occurring.
No, I think it's a far worse, more death than life in prison with no parole than having a just death penalty.
Well, I mean, to use the harsh reality of prison life and the fact that in maximum security prisons they tend to kill each other, I don't think that's a very good justification for the death penalty in saying that they potentially could kill other inmates. You know, I mean, maximum security prison, I mean, I guess you'd have some like high-level drug offenders in there, but mostly just be, you know, either seriously repeat offenders or murderers and stuff. So I just think that if they're gonna commit crimes on each other and kill each other in prison, we can't control that as a society. But whether we, the non-criminal masses, agree that we should kill these people, that's something we can't control.
Like, just because someone did a crime, it's not okay for us to, like, kill them. It's like making another crime.
It's too wrong to make it right.
It's like in Iran, they've recently condemned a man to be blinded because he threw acid on a woman. I mean, that's like as eye for an eye as you can get. I mean,
But
would we do that? I mean, I don't necessarily disagree that that guy deserved it. I mean, throwing acid on a woman is pretty terrible, but
our current system does not put people on death row because of that reason. It's because of murder, murder associated with rape, treason. So I feel as though that example is a bit.
But why not? If we're gonna do eye for an eye on murder, the most extreme case in which you could do something like that, why not, you know, a guy who chops off someone's hand, why don't we just de-hand him?
Yep.
And
So
plus, you see our government.
I'm just asking you. It's a
People see
rhetorical
our
question.
government killing people. They feel that if the government can kill people, they can kill people too.
Check this
The
out.
government, they follow. The
Let's check this out.
check.
All right. You mentioned all that. That's great. There's a reason why it is the way it is today. There is a legal precedent, as I mentioned earlier. 1976. You have to remember that the death penalty was voided for a while, for a period of about like 4 years, I think it was. But in 1976, Gregg versus the state of Georgia, it was reinstated because they found that it did not constitute a violation of the 8th Amendment, which is against cruel and unusual punishment. So ever since we have that today, there's like 36 states, I think, currently that have the death penalty, 14 that don't. The reason why it's so expensive, why it is, yes, it is more expensive for an execution as opposed to life without parole. But that's because of the decision in 1976, which instituted guided discretion and separate deliberations for the guilt and penalty phases. So that lengthens the trial process. And any source you check out is going to tell you that The reason why it's so costly is because of the trial costs. It's not the execution itself, like you said, they could just go hang somebody, but it's because we have a squeamish society, really, that can't make up its mind. Do we want to do, we want them out of here, we don't want to look at them.
The actual, as you mentioned, the actual process of killing. One example is lethal injection, which actually uses an anesthetic before the inmate is killed, and it happens in less than 7 minutes. And the actual injection only costs approximately $90. So all of the numbers that you mentioned are, as you said, based on the trials.
So are you saying that they don't deserve appeals, they don't deserve a fair trial, they don't deserve, I mean, they have the right to appeal. That's, pretty foundational right. So
I would say that would be a debate about the system itself.
well, isn't that what we're doing?
I thought we were debating the death penalty specifically.
Well, we are,
Yeah.
but
Not
the reasons why
Not the
it should
judicial
or
system.
shouldn't. Well, is it the judicial system as a whole, or is it the judicial system as it pertains to the death penalty? Because I don't think I've talked about anything more generic than that.
The judicial system as it pertains to the death penalty.
And I think that's relevant.
So what was your point?
Well, just that I felt like you were trying to sort of throw out what we were talking about with the cost, and sort of say that, well, that's just the judicial system as a whole.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I mean, it
Yes,
is our,
I was trying to
I mean,
throw
we
it
have
out.
due process.
No,
so-
I'm not saying that they're not entitled to due process. They are, obviously. However, in addressing the problems with costs, that's where it occurs. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we need to look at that.
I agree.
Tighten that up somehow. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we can't execute some people.
Well, in conclusion, oh, you can say that after I say it. My bad. In conclusion, we think that the death penalty should be abolished because it costs several times more on taxpayers. It's barbaric. It throws us into the bin with uncivilized countries. All of our allies in Europe don't have the death penalty. And it's just kind of a barbaric practice. And it costs money.
We want our country to be characterized by justice, not revenge, by safety, not violence, by life, not death, said by Sean O'Malley.
We, the con side, argue that the death penalty cannot be done. It can be done in an uncruel way and also helps to prevent the occurrence of more deaths. Therefore, in some way, reducing homicide within society and helping abolish our social problem.
And it's been a pleasure to have this debate with you.
It's
been a pleasure. Thank you.
You guys were saying, well, you were mentioning the lethal injection as less cruel, but it doesn't have a 100% success rate. You can survive it. It's happened. So, and once you survive it, they can't do it again. So these people who survived it, in a way, beat the system. I mean, I don't even know what happens to them if they survive it, but it's got to be pretty painful. So it's not really less. It's not really more humane, I don't think. It's kind of not very good way to do it. Hanging is kind of done with once they're dead.
Do we, like,
You can respond to it.